Okay, guys, so some people have been wanting us to get back into the Thomas Sowell.
Thomas Sowell, man, my boy.
Ooh, I'm excited.
A
What's
legend.
Is this about Ronald Reagan?
Who's the favorite American president?
I
Ronald
thought it was
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. Yeah, I think so.
He like closed hella mental hospitals. Like
Closed?
Closed them. He did a
They
lot of crazy
said
stuff.
he did a lot of underground stuff too.
Denied like some environmentalist stuff. He did a lot of stuff. I was reading about it actually. I read it somewhere.
Yeah, I have no information on
Wasn't
any
his
president.
wasn't his wife was the beginning of the DARE program too?
Yes, he did start the DARE program, the
okay.
war on drugs. I believe he did do that.
But
I've heard about that.
wasn't at the time? Okay, hold on. Wasn't his administration was the administration they was trying to say America was selling weapons to a
Yes,
country?
we were selling weapons to
The
fund a
Contras.
war in South America, and while also
No, they
putting
for real.
crack in the black community. I don't know if this is
It was like off of Snowfall.
Yeah,
Talking about the
I don't know
Snowfall
if this is like
conspiracy.
confirmable, but this apparently like happened during that.
Yeah, it said it
No,
happened
Coach
like
B
Yeah,
that.
they were
talked about
funding the
that.
war in South America. They were like sending guns to the Contras and something. It's pretty
But
crazy.
like, I don't think
It's
the
pretty
country,
in-depth.
well, everyone in the country agreed to go to the war, so they was funding the war like without people knowing.
Yeah,
illegally, I guess.
Oh,
They,
yeah.
they were,
Dude,
they were
LA.
using drug money to fund the war while also having the DARE
The DARE program.
And
Yeah,
they
that's
were
pretty
putting
crazy.
crack in the black communities and
That's
stuff.
very-
Franklin.
It's like a really
That's a
in-depth
crazy one.
thing. I mean, you look at like all the stuff he did, and people like really love Ronald Reagan.
It's a lot
Dang.
of crazy stuff.
Is this
Okay.
what this is about?
I don't know, man. I have no idea, but Sowell's going to tell us who he thinks that the worst president was that everybody loved.
On the Boondocks, there was a running joke when Huey Freeman used to be like,
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan is the devil.
Higher education
Obama.
can't be a
Whoa.
luxury. It is an economic imperative
I
that
wasn't
every family in America should be
Wasn't
able to
expecting
afford.
that.
at all.
Higher education, an imperative. All he's asking is that all young Americans should have the same opportunity to get a really good education that Tom Sowell had. Tom?
I love the way the use of the word opportunity. You know, I had as much opportunity to become an NBA star as Michael Jordan had. It just happens that there was some difference in skill. And so the same thing with education. There is no point trying to run people through institutions that they have very little interest in and that they may not be suited for. In fact, I would argue that one of the problems of American education is you have a lot of people in college who have no interest in what a college is supposed to be. Nor is there any reason why they should.
And so the intellect,
He's busting brains.
So you water down the education of the people who are there to get an education because of the people who are not there for that purpose and who are and who you're trying to appease in some way.
So when Vivek was saying that he's going to give people the opportunity to do something and go to a different school, that's good because they're allowed to get that opportunity and they're not forced into that opportunity. But
They're allowed to choose what school they want to go to and aren't stuck in it because of
Yes.
like districts and whatnot.
Obama put an additional $50 billion in Pell Grants for low-income
good.
college students.
That's
I
really
think that's
good.
pretty good.
That's
I don't
really good.
see a problem with that one. It said President Obama created an American Opportunity Tax Credit providing up to $2,500 per year for 4 years of college tuition for families earning up to $180,000. I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, I definitely will have to watch more of this video to see what they're about
Yeah,
to
what
say before I form an opinion.
Yeah,
Because
that
I'm
can't
under
be-
the impression that I do know that Obama did do a lot of drone strikes and kill a lot of people, and he deported a lot of people, which is something they skip over. Those are like the two highlighting worst things they did. Ooh, I do know one thing: how the thing on health insurance that they did.
I do remember something like that.
Obamacare.
Yeah, they like made it like mandatory
horrible.
where you had to have health insurance, and then like spiked up the price, and then
This can't
so
be the only reason.
now you get in trouble if you don't have health insurance or
I
something
think
like
they
that.
were talking about like Obama did something with education to let people in who maybe weren't so qualified.
Higher education can't be a luxury. It is an economic imperative that every family in America should be able to afford.
higher education, an imperative. All he's asking is that all young Americans should have the same opportunity to get a really good education that Tom Sowell had. Tom?
I love the way the use of the word opportunity. You know, I had as much opportunity to become an NBA star as Michael Jordan had. It just happens that there was some difference in skill. And so the same thing with education. There is no point trying to run people through institutions that they have very little interest in and that they may not be suited for. In fact, I would argue that one of the problems of American education is you have a lot of people in college who have no interest in what a college is supposed to be. Nor is there any reason why they should.
And so the
So you water down the education of the people who are there to get an education because of the people who are not there for that purpose and who are and who you're trying to appease in some way.
And is the impulse that we just saw of Barack Obama and his supporters to constantly, more and more people run them through college, and that's what? That's to enhance the standing of intellectuals in society, to teach more and more Americans to defer to intellectuals? Is that part of what's going on?
It's to win votes, frankly.
All right. Straightforward as that. President Obama once again.
I will not cede the wind or solar or battery industry to China or Germany because we refuse to make the same commitment here. We've subsidized oil companies for a century. That's long enough.
This is pre-Solyndra, of course.
Pre-Solyndra. Tom?
You know, this notion of picking out something and calling it a good thing, like education or affordable housing or whatever it might be, everything is a matter of trade-off. What did the band say there?
That he will not cede wind or solar or the battery industry to China or Germany because we refuse to make the same commitment.
It's amazing that here is a man talking about 5 different industries, in none of which he has the slightest experience. You know, but because he has these degrees from the places you mentioned, he thinks, and people have told him how clever he is, he now thinks that he can do this.
So can you...
No human being on this planet could do this.
Can you explain, Tom, the particular appeal to intellectuals of the kind you describe here, of the green movement, of the environmental movement?
Oh, it shows them again in the role they relish. They're the wise and noble, forcing the rest of us poor dummies to do what's right, you know, even though we don't want to.
So it's what your old friend Karl Marx would have described as the will to power.
Yes.
You don't want to cut them a little slack. I mean, you're just saying it's ego and pride and vanity.
Yes.
All right. Once again, the President of the United States.
Tax reform should follow the Buffett rule. If you make more than $1 million a year, you should not pay less than 30% in taxes. And my Republican friend Tom Coburn is right. Washington should stop subsidizing millionaires. In fact, if you're earning $1 million a year, you shouldn't get special tax subsidies or deductions. On the other hand, if you make under $250,000 a year, like 98% of American families, your taxes shouldn't go up.
I love it.
I mean, I agree with that, though.
Tom?
When people keep their own money, that's called subsidizing them. I love it. You know, that's the brilliance of intellectuals, that they can use words in such a malleable way that they can. I mean, Obama has an absolute talent for saying things that make no sense, but not only sound plausible but inspiring. You know, we're subsidizing the oil companies when they deduct the cost of doing business in order to arrive at the figure of how much net income they have. Everybody does that.
Right. So this notion, though, that if you're rich, you ought to pay more. Straightforward enough, no?
It is straightforward, but it's also straightforward nonsense.
Why is that?
They often speak of people who are rich as people who happen to have money.
Right.
Extremely few people happen to have money.
There aren't that many Rockefellers.
Well, but Rockefeller didn't happen to have money.
But his heirs happen to have it.
His heirs happen to have money.
So you're drawing
Rockefeller reduced the cost of oil to a fraction of what it had been before him, benefiting millions of people across the country. Therefore, they bought their oil from Rockefeller rather than from people who had more expensive ways of producing oil. For example, one of them being the use of tank cars.
I liked how you said something about trade-offs. Like something is presented as a good thing, but you are
Losing
something's
some.
affected always. Yeah.
It's always a catch.
But is that weird that he's saying not taxing the rich will make stuff around here more cheaper? So that means we could have more consumer goods at a lower price? Because that's what he was pretty much saying at the end.
Not taxing the rich would do that?
Because he says not that many rich already. So he said if they're able to that's why he said he brought up Rockefeller, because he was like, he wasn't getting taxed. So he was able to attain more oil that made the price go down. So
So it helped other people.
But it helped other people to you know what I'm saying? Because if he's getting taxed more, that means stuff gonna have to, he gonna have to make
raise
his,
the price to
He
make
gotta
more
tax
money
more.
to cover the taxes.
I ain't really really think about it like that in that way, but
Part of the trade-off thing.
Yeah.
Because if you pay less in taxes, but then stuff costs more, then you still lost.
yeah.
I didn't think about it like that until you said it.
Cause that's like him,
either.
like putting himself in the third man. It's like, okay, say if I'm a corporation, right? I gotta plug in overseas, so I gotta outsource, right? But they taxing me because you're taxing me more to sell it. So it's like, I gotta tax everybody else so I can make me profit too. I can't sell it for low unless I can get it for cheap.
Yeah, I mean, taxes is something I have to get more educated about because I can't really say if someone should get taxed more or less, really. I mean, I think everybody should get taxed the same for me, like
Yeah.
just off my knowledge. I think that's what it should be, but I can't really say who should get
It's
taxed
hard.
more or less.
It is hard.
But the way Obama did say it didn't sound like it was just like, yeah, that's what should happen.
That sounded really good.
It sounded good, so I wouldn't really know the effects of it.
I don't know.
But the education points he was making was very on point. It is. The Michael Jordan example was very
Yeah, it does make sense.
a great point. You said it did?
It does.
No, yeah. I mean, everybody had the same opportunity, period.
Yeah, you got the opportunity to go to college, but everybody can't go to Harvard regardless of what opportunity you had. I had the opportunity to go to Harvard, probably, like.
Oh, yeah, everybody
But
had
I
the
ain't
same
smart enough to
opportunity.
get in that bitch. So that's
well,
why
you
I
didn't.
shouldn't be
I
there.
feel like you just didn't lock in hard enough for you to
mean,
get
But that's
in.
my choice.
Yeah,
I didn't
That's
say
exactly-
That's
Choice.
on
That's,
me, yeah.
that's why it was a great point.
I had the opportunity,
Yes.
Somebody else had that same. He locked in, I didn't. That's why he went and I didn't. So I can't hold home
So
and
you
cry
can't
about it.
force anybody. So just forcing someone to, especially like, okay, so if we're gonna make $15 billion, if he's gonna get it somewhere, probably from taxes. For people that don't even want to go to college, now they have the opportunity to go to college, and their parents are telling them you're gonna go to college because now you got these Pell Grants. When they didn't try to get a scholarship from their education from the jump.
I think it's pretty crazy that like they try to make it like I think what he's trying to say, in my opinion, like, oh, go to college, go to college, go to college. Now you have people that have been told and programmed to think I gotta go to college now.
Yeah.
And now they're in college. They have no idea what they want to do. They have no desire to be there. They're spending all this money in debt, and a lot of the money that you spend when you go to college and you can't afford it comes from the government through loans and subsidized loans and stuff. That way the government makes money off you going to college being lost, and now you're in a hole in debt when you go get a degree that you have no idea, no direction.
If you get the degree.
Yeah, if you get the degree, because I know a lot of people who quit and they take all these loans out. Now they have all this money they got to pay back,
And you still got no
But
degree.
he
Exactly.
tried to help
No
that
degree.
with the Pell Grants.
See, but but the Pell Grant's not gonna cover all that though. The Pell Grant's gonna cover a little bit,
It's not.
and it's gonna
gonna
cover
get
it's
you
gonna
there.
cover a portion of that. But
So should he not cover anything?
I'm
or
just
leave it?
I'm just saying like that might be like a caveat, like because you only get a Pell Grant for 2 years. You get it for the first 2 years, I'm pretty sure. Because when I became a junior, I couldn't get one no more.
You had Pell Grants the whole time? No, I know people had Pell Grants for 4 years, bro.
Really?
Yes.
Oh well, when I became a junior, I couldn't
Maybe
get my Pell
because your
Grant no more.
grades were good and they just, you got something.
No,
to
the
cover.
Pell Grant is
That
how
don't
much
make
your
sense.
people made. My mama made too much money.
Okay,
It was
I'm
all
talking
good.
about-
Because I'm pretty sure the Pell Grant is just for like freshmen and sophomores.
I thought it was off
It's
your
different type of
income.
loans and grants, so maybe I'm thinking about something.
Because I remember everybody at Barton that had the Pell Grant, their people was not making
but
no
doesn't
money.
See, but Pell Grant, you're a freshman and sophomore in junior college.
But
Did you
doesn't
get a
your-
Pell Grant when you were at UL?
Yeah,
No,
but don't
my
your
mom-
You
Pell
were there
Grant.
all 4 years though.
My mom made too much money.
So you didn't get any type of like loan.
I
or
ain't getting
anything?
it. I couldn't get nothing. I had to take out a loan.
because of his tax bracket.
My mama made too much money. I
Yeah,
was
I
a
ain't getting
dependent.
nothing
You
either.
might have done finesse.
My last 2 years I was
No,
not
but
eligible
you
for
go
a
to
Pell
jail for
Grant.
that.
You
Yeah.
can't. I mean, you can, but
But but as I was saying though, like a Pell Grant's not gonna cover it, so like it'll cover some of it, but then you still have to figure out how you're gonna cover the rest of that school. You're gonna get kicked out.
See,
so
I
you
think-
take out a loan and now you get a degree, like you have no idea what you want to do.
Do you have
I'm
a
thinking about fast food.
in
That's what
debt.
I'm thinking about.
Fast food? Yeah,
Yeah, I got
That's what I
fast
said.
FAFSA is part of is like
You got
that's
fast
how
food?
you get a
Yeah, I
that's
got
how you get a
fast
Pell
food.
Oh
Grant.
yeah, I didn't get Pell Grant. I got fast food. That's my
FAFSA is how
they're
you get a Pell
essentially
Grant, bro.
close. Yeah, they're
You have to
same
fill
thing,
out
yeah.
FAFSA to get
get-
any
yeah.
type of loans and any type of Pell Grant because they have to
Yeah.
know how
What
much
you
to
make.
give you, how much you make, and all that.
Also, we know that if you fail, they take
You
your
lose
stuff
it.
away.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is kind of like
It's like, yeah, okay, so if you go to college because your mama made you and the government gonna pay for it, but you didn't want to go, that's why I think Thomas is saying he's like, that's the no.
that's money lost by somebody.
Right.
It's money lost.
Maybe they
there's-
should like do scholarships. They might already do that, but like for like trade school to be like welders and stuff
They
like
do.
that.
I ain't gonna lie, trade school is actually extremely affordable in comparison to college. Like I almost went to trade school in high school to go to culinary school. They told me I had to quit football. I was like, hell no. But in high school, if you go to trade school in my district, you go for free. Like you could have went to engineering
So-
school, you could have went to
Let's jump back.
welding school, all that stuff.
Let's jump back into it. But so we are saying that Thomas is saying.
I agree with him.
No, yeah, but is he saying that people should just get scholarships coming from high school?
I think he's saying that you should go to college if you want to go to college. You shouldn't go to college because they're telling you to go to college, or because he's saying.
But what if you want to go but don't have any help?
Or
That's
direct-
what
That's where the help comes in. So that's useful. But he's saying that the way that they're presenting it to people, now they think, oh, now I have an opportunity that I didn't have before. And now you just go blindly and you have no plan. You have no idea what you want to do.
Okay, yeah, that
You
makes
go in
sense.
there and now you in a hole.
For example, one of them being the use of tank cars on the railroads. The progressives were livid that Rockefeller could ship his oil at a cheaper price than the other producers. It never occurred to them that Rockefeller shipped his oil in tank cars, which are a hell of a lot cheaper to transport than in barrels. Right. I mean, we still measure oil in barrels today, but we ship it in tankers.
Right.
And that's how he became a multi-billionaire.
So we know from the study of economic history that wealthy people get wealthy by creating jobs, lowering prices of products. Rather than Bill Gates, the richest man in America, one of the richest men in the world, invented an entire industry that simply didn't. All right, we know all that, and we also know, as we mentioned earlier, that cutting taxes worked to spur economic growth in the 20s. Again, under John Kennedy in the 60s. Actually, it was Johnson who ended up. Most of the tax cuts took place, let's call it under the 60s, and then again in Ronald Reagan in the 1980s.
And then George W. Bush.
And George W. Bush. So how is it that he can stand there in the face of this overwhelming evidence and be taken seriously? I'm not asking now about Barack Obama as an intellectual. I'm asking about the people listening to him.
That's the question of the hour. You have people who don't stop and think. You've had dumbed-down education. You've had propagandistic education. And people, what he's saying connects with all those kinds of things.
All right.
In fact, it goes the other way too. I was just doing some research on Detroit and its decline, and they kept raising the city income tax. And every time they raised the tax rate, the tax revenues went down. In 2008, Charles Gibson put this to Obama when he was a candidate. He said, "Why are you for raising the tax rate on the rich? Because you often get more revenue at lower tax rates than at the higher tax rates." And he said, well, it's a question of social justice. In other words, he doesn't really care about whether the government raises more revenues. If he can get people mad at the rich and they vote for him, then it's a success. Just as Coleman Young's policies in Detroit were a great political success for him. It ruined Detroit, but it didn't.
I just have you and I happen to
Detroit is horrible right
subject.
now, y'all don't
From
understand.
1950 to the present, two things happened. One was that the population of the United States of America roughly doubled, and the other was that the population of Detroit fell by roughly half.
Yes.
Unbelievable. All right. You write in Intellectuals in Society about the intellectuals' view of diplomacy and military affairs. One last clip of the President of the United States.
Thank heaven I'm sitting down.
Look at Iran. Through the power of our diplomacy, a world that was once divided about how to deal with Iran's nuclear program now stands as one. The regime is more isolated than ever before. Its leaders are faced with crippling sanctions. And as long as they shirk their responsibilities, this pressure will not relent.
Tom, will you sleep better tonight having heard that?
I may take a sleeping pill so I can forget it. This man has diddled with Iran to the point where the military people are saying, even if we decide to go in and bomb that place, they're so dispersed, so far underground, it's by no means clear that we can do it. The time when he was going through all this wonderful diplomacy he talks about was precisely the time when those things were put underground and dispersed. It's like when Hitler was arming, that as Churchill said, at one point, a memorandum could have stopped Hitler. Because the power was so lopsidedly on the side of the Western democracies. It's like they could say, stop rearming or else. And we can't do that with they diddled with Iran to the point where now we don't know.
Now, but there's something interesting to me
To be honest with you,
Whereas with
I
some
can't.
policy,
Can I pause?
intellectuals tend to
That's
go for the
crazy.
policy.
I can't go off of him and listen to what he's saying about the military because like he's not,
He
been
really know
over
what's
there.
going on.
Yeah, and like Barack got people that's actually designed to like know everything. That's
And I
going
don't
on.
know shit about
Yeah,
So I can't.
how we should attack
affairs.
Iran.
Yeah,
I don't know what we should do about that
Hold
one.
on though. Well, let's back to that Hitler
guys,
point.
Vivek.
Did y'all understand that Hitler point?
No, he just used like an analogy. He was saying like back then you could just walk right past Hitler and like nobody would have batted an eye basically because like the West, which is like America, all of this side of the world, was basically running the world so bad that like you wouldn't expect like him to be able to do anything basically. You slept on him for so long and then look what he did. What he was saying was we was messing with Iran so long and like they were saying like Obama was doing good with them or whatever, whoop the whoop, and it was quiet, but they was like really like plotting and planning and stuff. That's what he said. I don't know if that was going on. Obviously, I wasn't there.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I'm
That's
just
why.
saying what he said.
But I wonder
He
how.
only got 10 seconds left.
How do he know? That's what's confusing.
I
me.
don't know, man. He's the man that wrote the book. I don't know.
But like,
So what is the purpose of this video? Like
He's basically saying the worst president that people love. People loved Obama. He was well spoken.
worse though?
I wouldn't say the worst.
well, this was before
It's-
Joe
you know, it's a
Biden
YouTube
era.
title.
This is before Joe Biden.
This
He
is
done
a
came
YouTube
and
title.
cleaned his ass out.
So it's kind of like they're gonna boost it a little bit. I don't think he was the worst, but I mean he probably did have some stuff that. I think Obama changed some stuff, like, but I
He
don't
got
really
Osama
know.
bin Laden. I know that.
I don't know any policies that could have hurt or fixed America
Yeah, man,
that he
I was
did.
too young. I'm just now
So-
starting to be old enough to
Me too.
see what's going on and how it can affect me
But
as a
hey,
person.
that tax situation though, that does make me want to research a little bit more to see what's really going on with that because it is probably something deep.
Bro,
But that's crazy though. It's like the Taj point made though. If you tax the rich more, they're the ones who's selling you the goods, and they gotta sell to you for more. So if you want to make the economy better, you don't tax them as much. They won't tax people as much.
The consumer.
I didn't even
And
understand it
that's
until
the
he
lack
said
of
it.
research.
Yeah, the way you broke it
though.
down is crazy.
It's like, yeah, the plug get it for this, I gotta sell it
That
for that.
shows
But the
that
plug
how-
get it for this, I gotta sell it for that.
How dumb people really are though. Like,
But I
They
would
don't
say, I
I
would
would say
never
they're
have
dumb. I
realized
just
that.
don't think they.
I
I just
never
don't think
would've
they
realized
really
that.
truly understand
Yeah.
all the gears
How
and
it works.
motions.
yeah, we're not dumb. We're just not doing enough.
Uninformed.
They don't understand business. That's that's regular business
Damn.
concepts.
He's not charging high because he hates y'all.
He got to, 'cause he
want
gonna
more
be
people to
messed
buy.
up.
Yeah, it's the same way with oil. Like when oil was high as hell, it's because
They were
they
getting
were getting taxed on the
Yes.
bins. Like
Yes.
the price of a thing of oil was high as hell. So
It
we
was-
gotta
yeah.
pay more.
Yeah, think about it.
The chicken wings. Why was the chicken wings so high? Because there was a shortage on chicken.
Yeah, so like anything that's getting affected, like that's what I'm saying.
It's a trade off. Like
That
you
just
said,
blew
it
my
is
mind.
always a
Man,
trade off.
supply and demand, things like
That's
that.
why
man.
Detroit's so like, bro, y'all don't.
We can't say we didn't
understand.
learn today. We learned today.
No, that
I
blew
learned
my
today.
mind.
Like when him talking about Detroit, y'all don't understand how this hurt my heart every time I think about Michigan. Cause like
It's treacherous.
I could really see how like this used to be like a booming
So
like
why did he say
city
The auto
Detroit was so
industry.
messed up again?
because they taxing people. So Fords and GMs that was made up, it was like manufacturing there. So if it started costing more, everybody
produce
started going
there.
overseas, get it for
We started
cheaper.
doing a lot of
Get,
Chinese cars and stuff.
They
So
said the
I actually did a
population
project over this.
They said the population of the U.S. doubled and the population of Detroit reduced by 50%.
Yeah, I seen that.
and like my whole family, they was all south and went up there for that. So like I actually seen how everything playing out now. You can see history.
To this day, they ain't
Detroit-
even got water. How long
Yeah.
has it been?
Yeah.
8 years now since Flint had water.
Yeah, the
Hey,
house is
almost
messed
a
up.
decade.
bro.
And a city in America has no clean water.
If an industry is able to make a lot of money in their home,
They gotta stay, yeah.
They can stay. So if they're able to
You know
stay,
where
they'll make
Walmart?
more.
You know
jobs
where Walmart headquarters at?
in America,
But you know what state?
Arkansas.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Who would have thought?
That's
But they
where
was
it
made in.
That's where it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
I drove by it. Boy, they
Man,
got
that's-
a
I
big
know,
ass.
That's messing me up though. The fact that the Democrats are trying to tax the rich. So
That's
they
been
might-
their whole thing this whole time. But
didn't
they're
realize
Get
that.
votes.
But you
they
wanna
try
know-
to do it to get votes.
And then the other people are like, yeah, let's do that. They're
Yeah.
rich. And then they're getting richer the whole time.
Yeah,
That's insane.
They shoot themselves in the foot. They ain't even know it.
because like
Yeah,
the
because
gov-
the money has to come from somewhere. So now they're like,
Yes.
we're not gonna take it from them. We're gonna take it from y'all. But it
that's-
sounds good to y'all because they have more money. So you think them paying more in taxes is a good break on us?
Yeah.
because we're below.
That's
Now they
just-
got to tax y'all for the shit you
Now,
still
now,
need.
now, since they're the ones supplying the things that we need and things that we purchase on the daily, and those prices go up, now it's like, oh no, why is this so expensive now?
It makes complete
Wow.
sense.
Let's
Yeah,
finish
man.
it, man.
hey,
Let's finish the video, man.
bust your brains,
I was
guys.
30
We
seconds.
smarter than what we think, huh?
Start.
No, we definitely are. We just they're dumbing down their education, like you said.
Damn, my nose running.
That give them greater power. What greater power could an intellectual seek than military power, the power to blow things up? So why?
Oh,
why
because
do they
because
shrink from?
because they believe that again that their intellect is the unique factor that is going to save us, and to say that there are a bunch of military people are going to be more effective than doing all these terribly clever things that Obama is doing undermines their whole position.
I see. All right.
It was just a great point, man. Like taxing the rich ain't gonna help.
Yeah, it's
the,
not.
the common people. Is what we. Just
It's
like.
not. Yeah, anybody that get taxed more, it hurts everybody.
If
so
they own everything,
it's a big chain effect, and our middle class is like,
Maybe why is medicine so much? Why is this that so much?
hey, I gotta get it for the high overseas, bro.
Nah,
So I gotta tax y'all.
The word around town, basically, people is trying to dethrone the government, basically. That they finna just run in there.
Oh,
That shit ain't happening.
That is a terrible idea.
Hey, the government said, "Come try it. One, two, boy. We go."
People have been saying, let's just dethrone
That's
the
over
government
with.
and
I
start
think
this shit
if
over.
That's
anybody
over
is
with.
actually planning to do that, please don't. That's
They
not
gonna
good.
they
be
gonna
honest
drop a
with you,
bomb on your ass.
If they got enough people, they probably can.
No,
No,
they
man,
can't,
that's
bro.
not a good idea.
There's more guns
see the White
than
House
humans.
now?
Like if y'all really think about it, there's more guns in the United States than people.
So what the United States? What they gonna do with the helicopter?
I don't want to see something
that
like
would be
happen.
crazy.
Raining on everybody. Who
That will
going-
happen.
That will happen. Yeah, for sure.
They not letting that shit slide at all.
I definitely don't think that should happen.
The
Definitely
government,
don't
do that.
the
Don't do
military
If you're
that.
thinking about doing that, don't do that.
Don't
runs
do it.
on the
Foolish.
government command.
This is
So,
the strongest government in the world too.
I wouldn't try that.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Please
Strongest
don't.
military.
Please don't.
They
Don't
got some
do it, though.
patriots out there saying
Stupid.
the government's corrupt. Let's fix
All
this
right.
shit, and we gonna fix it by
They
ourselves.
gonna wake up dead. They ain't even gonna be a war.
Well, I know some people gonna die about it.
They gonna
People are
sprinkle
gonna die
something in
about it.
the
No,
air.
the patriots gonna die about it.
Patriots gonna die about it.
He's gonna die about it.